All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom also to the Akim pushing this word in sincerity and in truth, and to the speckled bird across the four corners of the world, and to the few sisters who are listening. To you I say Shalom. Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. I am the brother Khadasha from the GMS Chicago camp, coming back at you with another lesson. And basically what I wanted to highlight with this lesson, right, what this lesson is gonna be about, is basically highlighting the fact that we have it easy nowadays, man. And what I mean by that is that back then, when you look at a map, if you have a Bible, some Bibles actually have maps in the back of it. At the end of the Bible, they have maps, and this particular map, I was looking at it, man. Is going into Paul's missionary journeys, right? How he was going throughout all throughout Rome, right? He was going throughout all these different places, man. And when you go and look and read the scriptures of the things that Paul was going through while he was on these journeys, man, you have to contrast and put that into perspective with the ministry we have today, man. See, back then, Paul actually had to go from this place to that place to this place to that place, right? And when you really think about it, man, he was the things that you read about that Paul was going through, man, we have it absolutely easy, man. All we could do is literally just turn on, if you got an iPhone or whatever type of phone you got, all you got to do is press record, man. And right there, you could feed the sheep. See, back then, look, man, one of the most important things that we could do in this truth is feed the sheep, man. The Lord told to Simon Peter, he told him this. This is John 21:15. It says, so when they had dined, Yahushua said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, feed my lambs. He saith to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, feed my sheep. He saith unto him the third time, right? So the Lord is making a point right here, man. You see, the Lord is making a point. For him to repeat himself 3 times, to ask Simon, 3 times, lovest thou me? And then every single time he tells him, feed my sheep. That lets you know that the Lord is emphasizing that the most crucial part of this ministry, one of the main things we have to do and we have to focus on is to feed the sheep, man. We have to feed the sheep. And guess what? Paul was feeding the sheep, man. Paul was feeding the sheep. And also, he was authorized, man. I'm going to just say that right now. Paul was authorized through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to be a minister unto the Gentiles, which the Gentiles were Israelite foreigners that had taken other customs, but were indeed Israelites, man. So that's one of our main missions, man. Our main mission is to feed the sheep. It says right here, he saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahushua saith unto him, feed my sheep. So that's what we're here to do, man. We're here to first and foremost feed the sheep. And when you realize that we do in fact have it easy, man, that's going to make it way easier for you to stop, for you to, stop making it seem like it's hard to put a lesson together, man. It's not hard to put a lesson together, bro. There's so many spiritual things going on at such a high level right now. There must be something to talk about, man. There's no possible way that you have no lesson, that you are not feeding the sheep, like right now we're in crucial times, man. But we had it easy, bro. We got it easy. We got it easier than what the apostles had to go through, man. Because when you read what Paul had to go through, let me just get it. This is 2 Corinthians 11, and I'm gonna start off at verse 23. It says 2 Corinthians 11 and 23. Or you know what? Before I read this, right? Let me read this account first, man, because Paul. Let me just read this. It says I'm going to start off at verse 19, man, to give you context, because even though this happened to Paul, let's see what Paul did after. This is Acts 14 and 19. And there came thither certain Jews from Antioch and Iconium who persuaded the people, and having stoned Paul, drew him out of the city, supposing he had been dead. So here it is. Paul, who was once Saul, the Lord starts dealing with them. He starts pushing the word. And now all these Jews, these Israelites are coming after him, man. And they stoned him. They stoned him. Think about that, man. I haven't been stoned. I can't think of any brothers that have been stoned, man. We have not been stoned, man. People might, spit at us, might talk shit. They might try to start fights with us, whatever, right? But we've never been stoned, man. We've never actually, been put to death, man. Paul was put to death. And we're going to read about that. It says, howbeit, as the disciples stood round about him, he rose up and came into the city. And the next day he departed with Barnabas to Derbe. And when they had preached the gospel to that city and had taught many, they returned again to Lystra and to Iconium and Antioch. And let's see what he did after being stoned, man. It says, verse 22, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of God. So after Paul got stoned, instead of bucking up and, what, I'm not doing this no more. Like, I'm not getting stoned. I'm not dealing with this no more. Nah, man. He stood up. He rose back up and went into the next city and was still preaching, man. And not only that, after being stoned, he still went and confirmed and exhorted the disciples to continue in the faith after being stoned, man. After being stoned. And he let them know that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom, man. You see? These are the things. Let me see if I could get this. This is Philippians 1. And I'm going to start off at verse 12. It says Philippians 1 and 12. But I would ye should understand, brethren, that the things which happened unto me have fallen out rather unto the furtherance of the gospel. You see? So this was Paul's mentality, man. Paul never, when he went through these things, instead of, bitching up about it, for lack of better words, he actually just dealt with it, man. When you read the scriptures, Paul wrote that he rather glory in his infirmities, man. So everything that happened to him, he said that it happened unto him for the furtherance of the gospel, man. That's a very mighty spirit to have on you, man. It says, so that my bonds in Hamashiach are manifest in all the palace and in all other places. And many of the brethren in the Lord, waxing confident by my bonds, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. So here it is, man. Paul is going through all these things and still preaching the word, and still going through things and still preaching the word, and still going through it and still preaching the word. And he said that, hey, he not only did he acknowledge that all these things happened unto him for the furtherance of the gospel, but he said, so that my bonds are manifest in all the palace and in all other places, because through those bonds, when people see that, brothers are much more bold to speak the word without fear, man. Because you got to imagine, man, when you see a brother going through it, and he's going through this situation and that situation and this situation, and he's still showing up to the line. He's still dealing with the Lord. He's still dealing with the brothers. That's a mighty spirit, man. That makes you much more bold. So you gotta imagine when they would look at Paul, man. And Paul, we're about to read the things that Paul was going through, man. Hence the title of the lesson. We have it easy, bro. We have it way easier than what these men, are what they had to do, man. To preach the gospel. These are the things that they had to go through, man. This is 2 Corinthians 11 and 23. Are they ministers of Hamashiach? I speak as a fool. I am more. In labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths often. You see? So Paul was being, he was getting stripes. He was going into prison. Paul actually died, man. The scriptures talk about how he went up into the third heaven, man. Paul actually died, man. It says, of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Damn, bro. So he was receiving stripes, man. It says 40 stripes. He received 40 stripes 5 times, man. That's about 200 stripes. All right. It says, thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. Look, man, I've never experienced a shipwreck. I've never been stoned, right? Spiritually, we go through the fire, we go through things in this truth. But realistically speaking, man, we have it easy. It says right here, let me keep reading. It says, thrice I suffered shipwreck. So 3 times he suffered shipwreck, man. It says, a night and a day I have been in the deep. Look, man, we have not been a night and a day in the deep, man. That means he was in the water, man. You're telling me, we have not gone through that. You see? Of course, I'm not trying to downplay what we go through, because we go through some heavy shit too, man. We go through some very, necessary trials that we have to go through. We have to go through that fire to be tried. But we are not going through what Paul and these other men went through, man. What the disciples and what the apostles went through, man. It says, verse 26, in journeyings often, in perils of water, in perils of robbers, in perils by my own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren, in weariness and painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness. And you got to really think about this, man. Like Paul, despite him going through all these things, night and day, he was still trying to labor, still pushing the word, still doing the work, still pushing the gospel, man, the good news. Despite him going through all these things, he was still pushing the word, man. And this is the mentality. Like, we really got to put this into perspective, man. We really do have it easy, man. We could literally, put some scriptures together, press the button, and boom, right there, we could feed the sheep, man. This internet, do not take it for granted, man. This ministry, what we have right here, the work that we're doing, man, is one hell of a work, man. Is one hell of a work. Because, look, the internet is really doing all the heavy lifting for us, man. We don't got to go from place to place, to set up camp and, nah, we don't got to even do that, man. The internet is literally pushing these videos to the forefront on every single avenue of media that you could think of, man. Everybody knows, damn near everybody knows this truth, man. But back then, let's go back to the map. Back then, Paul actually had to go to these places, man. Paul had to physically go, get on a boat, go to these places, which it took time. It wasn't like you could just hop on a plane and then boom, you're just there in a couple of hours, man. Nah. They were going on expeditions, man. They were going from place to place, and then they would spend time there. They would build up. And not only that, it says he was going through perils by the heathen, by perils by his own countrymen, and perils by false brethren. So you got to think about the shit that he was really going through when he would touch down in these places, man. You got to imagine, bro. Here it is. He's sincerely trying to preach the word. And then you just get met with some bullshit of just fucking niggas just being bogus as fuck, man. Some bogus ass motherfuckers, man. Salakia for all my French, but it's true. Paul was really going through these things, man, and never once did he buck up, man. Never once did I'm going through I just fall out, Nah, man. Paul knew what he was involved in, man, and he finished his course. All right. Paul is authorized, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and his works and what he wrote in the Bible. All of this is authorized, man. All right. The Lord gave him the stamp of approval, man. All right. So if anybody got something to say about Paul, man, hey, you better be ready to deal with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man, because that man was set up through the spirit and power of the Lord, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. And now, we have it easy, man. We have it easy. Look, this is a 1 Peter 2:5. It says, ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices. And what are our spiritual sacrifices, man? These video epistles, man. These are a sacrifice, man. So we're offering up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Yahushua HaMashiach. So through the Lord's sacrifice, what he did on that cross, now we're able to offer up sacrifice. Now we're able to feed the sheep. Now we're able to understand his word. Now we're able to push the word. Now we're able to actually push the gospel out there, man. The good news to the Israelites. We have it easy, man. We don't have to go from Rome and then to China and then this place and then that place and then woo woo. Nah, man. People are literally waking up from a click of the button when they go on YouTube and just click on a video and then boom, the spirit hops on them, man. And, Lord willing, they repent. But this internet, man, is really doing the heavy lifting for us, man. We really do have it easy. You see? We really do have it easy. And that's something that should not be taken for granted, man. Like, we should really be pushing these videos, really be feeding the sheep, really be in tune with, and really pay attention, because we're living in some very spiritual times, man. And we're almost out of here. You want to make sure that you give your diligence to make your calling and election sure, and that you sow in bountifully so you could reap bountifully, man. It says, 2 Corinthians 9:6, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully, man. So you've been given the gift, you've been given the word, you've been given the necessary tools to push this word, man. So there's no reason why you should be sowing sparingly, man. Look at the apostles and elders of GMS. They're not sowing sparingly, man. Day in and day out, they're uploading lessons, man. Look at what Paul did. Paul was sowing in bountifully, man. And guess what? Paul is going to reap bountifully, man. If we endure unto the end, just like the men of the Lord in the scriptures, we're going to reap bountifully too, man, if we endure unto the end. And we have to sow bountifully if we want to reap bountifully, man. We have it easy, man. All you have to do is press the button and upload the lesson, man. That's how easy it is. We don't have to go from place to place, man. You see? So, hey, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchakudash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone that taught us truth. Shalom and Kwam Yasharallah.